Beautiful silk gloves. Yes, surely then my dear would be happy to see me again. Yes, because that is what men really want in a woman. Silky gloves. Let's play The Spider and the Bride. Hello and welcome to Hula New Plays Short Indie Horror Games. And today I'm going to play a fantasy, fairy tale, visual horror novel. Because it's October, I wanted to do some more storytelling games, more visual novels, because, you know, it's time to cozy up at the fireplace, roast some marshmallows, and tell spooky stories. And as you have it, there's the Spooktober 3rd Annual Visual Novel Jam by DevTalk. That's a mouthful. As if they expected me to do this, they basically presented me with so many cool visual novels to read throughout this month, and I already read Pumpkin Eater, which really traumatized me. It was amazing, but also super intense. So I hope this is more whimsical. Because it's Monday, I need something whimsical. It can be spooky, but please not as intense as Pumpkin Eater was. So yeah. There once was a large old house that sat atop an equally large hill. For many years, no living humans had graced its halls. But it was far from empty. For in this house lived many creatures, from bats to rats to tiny ants. All manner of life made this house their home. Within the old house's attic there also lived a spider, small and unassuming. Day in and day out it busied itself with weaving its webs. It seldom had a moment to spare, but on certain occasions it would pause its work. For every full moon the house had a guest. When the moon shone at its brightest, a gentle but frail and waifish woman would appear in the attic. Her fingers were but bone and ice, her face pale and gaunt, and her eyes sunken and tired. But the maiden was kind to the denizens of the old house. She sang to them with her lovely melodic voice and entertained them with her graceful, ephemeral dancing. So not like me, I guess. She was loved by all creatures, but none more so than the little spider. While all the other residents of the rickety old house avoided the arachnid, the young woman betrayed no fear. Instead, she would talk the night away with her 8-legged companion, even though it was unable to respond. But one night on the full moon, she seemed rather forlorn. "Little spider, I must confess, I've been waiting for such a very long time," she lamented, sadness heavy in her voice. "My betrothed, my dear, left my side when I became ill." "Oh, why has my dear not returned?" she said sorrowfully, tears flowing from her cheeks. "Does my visage now offend his eyes? But I'm sure just the sight of him will make me well once more." The spider wished it could comfort her as she wept. However, it was but a spider and not her dear. Thus it could only watch with a tiny, aching heart. After some time, the maiden managed to compose herself. A new resolve began to strengthen within her soul. "I cannot doubt him. He will return," she assured herself. "And when he does, I must be prepared for our wedding. But oh, there's so much to do. I must first find gloves to cover these bony fingers." She held out her hands, still thin and brittle. "Beautiful silk gloves. Yes, surely then my dear would be happy to see me again." Yes, because that is what men really want in a woman. Silky gloves. The spider knew now what it could do for the doleful maiden. It would weave her the finest gloves in the land. The spider did not wish for its beloved to cover her gentle hands with gloves, but did not hesitate in its decision to make the gift. It would be no easy task, but the spider was determined to see its beloved happy. The spider returned to its web, hoping to find some nourishment for the endeavor ahead. Trapped in the webbing was a delicate moth, its aged wings flapping quickly as it tried to free itself from the sticky threads that ensnared it. "Dear spider, I know you must hunger greatly, but I ask that you please spare me," the moth pleaded. "I'm but an old, fragile moth, but the moon calls for me. Please let me go to its brilliant light." the spider gave pause. For once it pondered such a request. Its beloved would surely prefer the moth be spared, but the spider must still eat, especially if it wished to weave a gift. "Spare the moth!" "Thank you, dear spider," the moth exclaimed as the spider unbound it from the web. "You are kind, dear spider. Perhaps one day I will be able to return this kindness." The moth opened its dusty wings and turned its eyes to the full moon. Rule number 1 in any fairy tale: always save some creatures or whatever, and always give old people something to eat. That's what I learned, because if you don't, you get cursed. That's just it, full stop. "But now I must go, for light calls me." And with that the moth fluttered away, lured out of the attic by the bright light of the moon. The spider felt somewhat hungrier, yet still strangely sated and stronger in spirit. It was now prepared for the task and began to sew and weave with zest. It would make the most exquisite silk gloves for its beloved, and would not rest until they were complete. The spider knew it would see the maiden again on the next full moon, and when it did, it would also see the joy on her face when she laid eyes upon its gift. For many days and nights the spider worked tirelessly. Ooh, beautiful! I would wear those. It took until the day of the full moon for the gloves to be complete, but they were indeed exquisite, elegant as the stars. Proud of its work, the spider left them on the windowsill and rested until nightfall. As if beckoned by them, the young woman appeared once more in the attic. "What is this? Has someone left me these gloves as a wedding gift?" She happily took the gloves and slid them over her hands. Her once frail fingers seemed full and plump once more, and her smile warmed the room. "How beautiful! These are perfect!" Her face had become alight with the purest of happiness. "If only I knew who to thank! They must be a truly kind soul to make me something so splendid." The spider was content to not take credit for its work. It merely wished to see its beloved happy. "Now that I have such lovely gloves, I must find a veil to conceal my pale face and tired eyes," the maiden said after admiring her gloves for some time. Jesus! Be happy with the gift you have, okay, maiden? "Perhaps then my dear will return." The spider did not wish its beloved to hide her smile behind a veil, but did not hesitate in its decision to make the second gift. For the rest of the night, it was content to watch the joyful bride-to-be offer her gloved hands to imaginary wedding guests. It watched her greet guests and mingle until dawn arrived, resting its tired eyes for only the briefest of moments. But when it looked back towards where she had been standing, she was gone. Once more the spider returned to its web, hoping to find another meal waiting for it. It was even hungrier than before, after all. What awaited it was a rather disappointing snack, however. A single ant had found itself trapped in the spider's web. As did the moth, the ant pleaded with its 8-legged captor. "Dear spider, I know you must hunger greatly, but I ask that you please spare me," the ant begged with a tiny voice. "I'm but a mere morsel to you. I could surely never satisfy you as a meal, and I must return to my mother and sisters." The spider once again pondered the request. The ant was indeed a small meal, but the spider was also quite hungry. "I'm so scared that I will spare all the animals and then the spider will die at the end, but 'tis the rule of the fairy tale that you spare those kind souls." "Thank you, dear spider," the ant exclaimed as the spider plucked its tiny body from the web. "You are kind, dear spider. Perhaps one day I will be able to return this kindness." The diminutive ant scurried off with purpose. "But now I must go, for my mother and sisters need me." And with that the ant ducked down beneath the floorboards to return to its family. The spider felt hungrier, yet still strangely sated and even stronger in spirit. It was now prepared for the task and began to sew and weave with vigor. It would make the most divine veil for its beloved, and would not rest until it was complete. For many days and nights the spider worked tirelessly. The spider knew it would see the maiden again on the next full moon, and when it did, it would also see her dance with elation when she laid eyes upon its gift. Ooh, it's so pretty! It took until the day of the next full moon for the veil to be complete, but it was indeed divine, ethereal as the wind. And just as before, the young woman once again appeared in the attic, and just as before, she saw a gift awaiting her. What is this? Has someone left me this veil as a wedding gift as well? She happily took the veil and placed it atop her head. Her pale, sunken cheeks seemed to become bright and rosy once more, and a smile warmed the room as it had before. How beautiful! It is perfect! She danced across the room gracefully, her veil fluttering behind her as she did. If only I knew who to thank! They must be a truly sensitive soul to make me something so delicate. The spider was content to not take credit for its work. It merely wished to see its beloved happy. Now the only thing that I lack is a dress. Jesus Christ, woman! Can you just, come on, be happy with what you have? The maiden said after admiring the veil for some time. It would be such a shame to not have an equally beautiful dress to suit the gloves and veil. She made no mention of her dear this time. And perhaps I can meet the sweet soul that suit these for me. Invigorated by her joy at receiving the veil, the spider did not hesitate in its decision to make the final gift. But for the rest of the night, it was content to watch the joyful bride-to-be dance around the attic, her veil dancing in the breeze as well. It watched her dance until dawn arrived, resting its tired eyes for a longer moment than before. When it looked back towards where she had been dancing, she was unsurprisingly gone yet again. And so once more the spider returned to its web, hoping to find another meal waiting for it. It was quite famished by now, after all. It heard its meal before it saw it. A loud, mournful tune played as the spider approached. A cricket had become entangled in its web. "Dear spider, I know you must hunger greatly, but I ask that you please spare me," the cricket chirped desperately. "I am but a gentle musician. I only wish to play my song beneath the stars." The spider yet again pondered the request. The cricket's music was indeed beautiful, but the spider was also ravenously hungry. "Spare the cricket!" "Thank you, dear spider," the cricket exclaimed as the spider freed its instrumental legs from the web. "You are kind, dear spider. Perhaps one day I will be able to return this kindness." The cricket gave the spider a bow. "But now I must go, for my audience beneath the stars await." And with that the cricket leapt out through the window to the garden below. The spider felt even hungrier, yet still strangely sated and stronger in spirit than ever before. And so yet again the spider began its work. This would be its most difficult endeavor yet. While its spirit was indeed strong, it couldn't help but wonder if its weak little body could withstand it. Oh no! No! It would have to work harder and faster than ever before to finish the dress before the next full moon. Still, the smitten spider carried on, determined to give its all for what it was sure to be the final gift to its beloved. It spent many days toiling away. As it did, hunger panged in its stomach, and its legs trembled from exhaustion. Eventually, its tiny body started to give in. "Do not despair, dear spider," a chorus of familiar voices brought the spider out of its stupor. "We have heard of your kindness to each of us and have come to aid you." The 3 insects it had previously spared had returned in its moment of need. "I have unraveled my cocoon to provide more silk for your dress," the moth exclaimed. "We will assist with the heavy lifting and carrying the dress," the ant and her sisters declared in unison. "I cannot sew nor carry, but I can provide music to inspire everyone as they work," the cricket chirped. "Well, okay, I guess." But yeah, it helps to motivate. The spider felt its heart bursting with gratitude as the other creatures began to help. With one last burst of energy, spurred on by its friends' encouragement, it was able to bring itself to its feet and continue weaving. It was nearly dusk before the night of the full moon when the dress was completed. It was every bit as dazzling and beautiful as the spider could have hoped. With the assistance of its companions, it carried the dress to the chair next to the window and rested it there to await its new owner. The tired spider laid its exhausted body down on the windowsill, just for a quick nap before its beloved arrived. It was proud of its work and was sure its sleep would be visited by the sweetest of dreams. A few more hours passed. The spider's beloved arrived, but the spider remained unmoving. No! Fuck that! No! Oh my, what is this? The young woman flitted over to the dress, absolutely delighted. It is even more beautiful than I could have imagined. I must try it on right away. She looked lovely and almost angelic in her dress as she stood in the moonlight. Her tired eyes became filled with light and joy. Maybe tonight the maker of these gifts will finally show themselves. She had all but forgotten about the deer that never truly loved her. Her mind was far too occupied with the kind tailor that had woven her these gifts. She searched the room, anxious and hopeful. It was then that her eyes rested upon the curled-up corpse of the spider that had given everything, including its own life, to make them. "Oh, my poor little spider," she lamented. "Are you the kind soul that made these gifts for me? Oh, what have I done? I have asked so much of you, and now you have forever departed this world. You poor, sweet creature." She wept and wept, mourning her tiny friend. The spider had given her such fine gifts, but now she could not so much as thank it for its kindness. A soothing soft glow from the window interrupted her tears, however. When she turned around to see the source of the light, her eyes fell upon another's. She had never even seen them before, yet they felt strangely familiar. And in that moment she knew that there was only one whose eyes could be brimming with such genuine love and affection for her. They were as gentle and warm as she imagined them to be, and so was the hand that reached out to take her own. And she also knew her eyes conveyed the same at this very moment. No words needed to be spoken to express their feelings. They both understood and reciprocated. The two held each other's hands and basked in each other's presence until the sun began to rise. With that light, their own existence upon the mortal plane began to wane. But they were both reassured to know that surely their next life would be one that they would share together. Oh my god, this is so... Oh my god, so the spider's ghost turned into a husband? Or wife? Or partner? Let's just say partner, because... Oh my god, this is... Oh. I shouldn't have played this after work. I'm being super exhausted. I'm really moved by this. I honestly... Self-sacrifice is something that I always just... I can't take it. It's no... But this is really beautiful. Oh my god, what a beautiful story. So, it was truly for the heart. Whereas Pumpkin Eater was such an intense, traumatizing horror story at its best, The Spider and the Bride was more just really lovely, slightly gothic. It was actual fairy tale. The rule of three, as every fairy tale has, and the love, but also the gift you get when you do something good for other people. Like, I know in real life you say no good deed comes unpunished, but in fairy tales it's always the opposite. It's not the opposite. When you do a good deed, you actually get something out of it. And it's that they both could spend eternity together, and that is just... It's very lovely. Very, very lovely, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. The art, I really loved. It really fit. So Brittany, I think, did the art. Thank you very much. It was gorgeous. This is, I mean, especially for a game jam game where you have just a limited time to do this was just, oh my god. I'm so smitten. This was because I used to read so many fairy tales as a kid, because my grandparents had so many books from fairy tales around the world. So I read all of them and I just got really lost in it. And so whenever I come upon an actual real fairy tale, and this was really it, then oh god, everything comes back to me now. And it also had this little spooky vibe, which I absolutely love. So the best of all the worlds. Thank you so much. Also, if you like this, you can like this video and tell the algorithm that you want to see more videos like this. You can also comment, how did you like the story? What would you have done? Would you have spared the insects or would you have eaten? Because I don't know, maybe there's probably a different ending. If you know about that, I will not play it because this is the ending I go, this is my canon. I don't want to know any other endings because I think this is the perfect one. It's beautiful, it's so beautiful, it's so romantic. Anyways, and also, you could subscribe to my channel. I usually play in a lot of short indie horror games, sometimes a bit longer games. Always with a bit of a mystery horror twist. Very story heavy. That's kind of my jam. So if you like that, you know, you can subscribe. And I promise you, you don't have to weave until you fall to death. You know, we can just have a small... I enjoy spiders who don't, you know, do really hard labor work for me. Like, I enjoy spiders just like that. So if you're a spider and you're sitting in front of the computer right now and you're like, I don't know if I should subscribe. Maybe she wants a wedding dress from me without even any pay. And then I will die. I don't know if I can do that. Don't worry, you know, you can subscribe and that'll be it, little spider. Because I love you. Anyways, I hope you had a good time. I hope you had a good time. I hope you have a wonderful day. And maybe... see you soon. Bye bye bye. Her mind was far too occupied. This is my self-recorded outro song so I don't get hit with copyright claims. If you subscribe to a lot of fun tutorials, reviews, and let's plays.